Godot has reached the release candidate after months of being in beta. Today we'll be trying out this new version of Godot and also we'll see if everything's working fine or if we still have loading issues as in previous betas. Stay tuned for more information about Godot by subscribing to the channel. So here we have the release candidate Godot 4.0 release candidate 1. This means that Godot isn't in beta anymore and now we'll be receiving this release candidate. As usual, you have here a lot of information. You have here like a Bible you can read. Also you have the highlights of this version, what's new, etc, etc, etc. Something I don't understand about Godot is this girl, or I don't know what is this, but in a lot of thumbnails, in a lot of things related to Godot, this girl appears. I don't know who she is. But well, let's skip that. I will quickly jump to the download section. You have the standard build with GDScript and you have the .NET 6 build with C# and GDScript. As I will be just trying out this new version, I'm going to go with the standard build. And here I'm going to look up to Godot 4 release candidate 1, Windows 64. Once we have extracted the zip file, we'll see two files. One is the console and the other is the executable, so I'm going to open this executable. Okay, here we have it. I'm going to maximize it. I have my local projects. We have the asset library project. The user interface is the same, but here we have version 4.0 release candidate 1 official. I'm going to create a new project and I'm going to call it a release candidate 1. I'm going to create a new folder. We have the same renderers. I will leave the default render because I don't care. And now pay attention because we're going to check how much time it takes to just create and open a project. So we'll see if this time is exactly the same or if it is different. I believe it's exactly the same amount of time it took in the previous betas. The user interface, let's say that it's exactly the same one. We have the new movie maker mode. We have the 2D, 3D environment, the script and the assets library as well. I'm going to program one very simple thing. I will just program with this icon of Godot. I'm going to make it change the color. In order to do that, I'm going to create a new script with a template of object empty. I'm perfect. And here we have the script. So I'm going to call the ready function. Remember that this function is called whenever we press the play button. And then I will grab my modulate and I will change it to something like color.red, for example. I will also save the scene and preview it. Yes, the loading times are exactly the same. But well, as you can see, the color of our icon has changed. I believe the loading time will be fixed in the official release of Godot. I hope. Now that we have made this very simple prototype, I'm going to make something related with the user interface. I would like to add a label here. Label. I'm going to center it and I'm going to put there a 0. And I would like to center it horizontally and diagonally. Also, I'm going to add a button, a normal button, and I'm going in the text to put +1. Okay, then this button, I'm going to center it as well. And I'm going to move it down just a little bit like this. In order to manage this button and this label, I'm going to create a script in the control node, again with a template of empty. A change that I noticed in this release candidate and in the previous beta is that now when you select a template, as you can see, when I created the script for my icon, I put that my script template would be the empty template, and now this decision was saved. Also, I believe that everybody uses the object empty template because the node is small changes but very useful. So I'm going to create it empty. Here again, I'm going to connect the signal of pressed, and I'm going to this thing advanced. We can put extra arguments and that thing, but this is very simple. I won't need that. And when my button is pressed, I will need a variable. I will call it score, that will be equals to 0 initially. Then when we press the button, we want to increase the score plus equals 1. Also, I would like to change the label text, so this will be label. Where is the dollar symbol? Here. Label.text will be equals to str, and here I'm going to put my score. So now I will preview this scene. Also, we'll need to save it, and now my score counter is working perfectly. Another thing that's maybe different from other versions is the hover and the focus styles of the button. As you can see, now it has a white outline, and when I press it, instead of making it darker, now it's brighter. Of course, here in theme overrides, we can change here the color, the constant, the fonts. We can change the styles, the normal, hover, press, disable, and focus. But the default options of this theme has changed. I know that there are a lot of other new features, maybe related with physics, related with the 3D environment. As I am a 2D game developer, the only things that I can check are related to 2D environment. And also I like checking the loading times, because one of the most important things about Godot is the loading times and the facility with which it opens project, it creates scripts, it compiles, etc. Because if we compare these loading times with, for example, Unity, we can clearly see that Godot loads perfectly fine and very fastly. So I hope they can even make the loading times fastly, as for example in the Godot 3 version, that you can create and open a project in a matter of milliseconds or 1 or 2 seconds. That's incredible. Now, if we want to play the game, for example, and we select this scene as the current, you can see it doesn't take a lot of time. It's very quickly. But before, when we were creating this scene and we wanted to preview it, it took a couple of seconds because it was the first time we were playing the scene, and that's completely normal. Another thing I don't like about Godot is the move tool. I think it's called here in Godot. Yes, the move mode. And these arrows, they are very small, and the colors are like very dark, so it's difficult maybe to see them if we had a scene with a lot of objects inside. And they aren't long enough, they are very short, I think, because sometimes you're seeing you aren't like zoomed in like this to quickly move it. A lot of times you are maybe with this type of zoom, and for example, let's see that I want to move it down. Sometimes, as you can see, currently I am moving the whole thing, I mean like in every direction, but if I wanted to move it down, it's a bit difficult. Can you see it? It's very difficult. If I am zoomed in, it's nearly impossible. Well, they are a work, but for example, you see? Look at where my arrow is, my mouse cursor. So I don't know why exactly this arrow is so short, because if we are in this zoom, for example, we can't. It's very difficult because you maybe have to zoom in a little bit, maybe aim. You maybe have to aim a bit, and then you can change the position. The same thing obviously with the horizontal. For example, this moving tool in Unity works perfectly fine. The size of it is perfect. but here in Godot I don't really like it at all. Another thing they've created or already made about Godot is the Godot Editor Beta. Now it's in the Play Store, as you can see. Previously we had Godot in Android but not in Play Store. We could download it from the official site of Godot where we are now, but now it's published in the Play Store, so it's something, let's say, more official. We have the Godot 3.5 version and the Godot 4.0. They are saying here that this is a beta release for the Google Play, or well, we can see that here it also says beta release and here it also says beta. So obviously we might experiment some issues. Even I think we will experiment issues with the Godot 3.6 version, but this is just a matter of time that they work, they solve issues, and then they release like a stable version for Android. This is just to demonstrate the capability of Godot to be run in any device. I believe this is very incredible because literally anyone has a mobile phone, so maybe they can experiment with the game development. Of course you can't make hard things, massive things, but at least they can experiment, they can code a couple of lines of code, they can maybe add some objects, play around with them, I don't know. But it's very difficult to actually create amazing mobile games from your mobile phone unless you have, for example, a keyboard or a mouse, or you connect a monitor. But with your mobile phone and only your hands and your fingers, it's very difficult. So I will just click this link. We have Godot Editor 3. It has 1K of downloads, very good. And it seems here that the interface, everything is very similar to the other versions. And also I would like to check the Godot 4.0 version. This has 5K of downloads. Yes, because the hype because of Godot 4 is very incredible. These are the same screenshots. I expected that maybe we could see here something maybe different, I don't know. And the description and everything is exactly the same. I won't try this out in this video. If you would like me to check this, well, leave me a comment. But it will be nearly the same. It's the same interface, it's the same of everything as you can see here. But of course in your mobile phone you have less screen size, so maybe it isn't worth it to create a whole video about Godot in Android. And also it's really difficult to use a game engine in your phone because you have to use your fingers, because maybe your phone isn't very powerful, so it maybe cause lag. Lastly, what I would like to check is the web editor. Yes, here it says you can also try the web editor. Early testing, it's still slow and stable. Well, we'll try it out anyway. So here we have this web editor is in the 4.0 release candidate 1 version. Can we use an old version? Wow, we have here the different versions. This is incredible. So for example, here we could use this version. Yes. Oh, okay. No, but I would like to use the latest. We have the video driver, we have all of this stuff, it's exactly the same. So I will just start the Godot editor. It's taking like the same amount of time it took to open a project in the desktop version. Yes, it's still loading. Okay, but now we have it. We also tested in the beta 17, so now I'm going to test it in the release candidate 1 version. I'm going to create a new folder and I will click create and edit. Warning, this project uses the following features not supported by the build of Godot Forward Plus. Open anyway, project will be modified. So I think Forward Plus is the renderer. Yes, but why does it let me select Forward Plus if then it isn't compatible? Strange. Okay, I will just open it anyway and it will be modified. I believe Godot will change the renderer or will do something in order to make the project work. Okay, yes, of course we have here our renderer change to compatibility. Okay, yes, everything seems to be working fine. Here we don't have the assets library environment, but the rest of user interface, as you can see, it's exactly the same. I could maximize this. I could enter the full screen mode so that everything is even better. We have here also the movie maker mode, amazing. And here I will only make the test of changing the color of the icon. So I will delete this and I will drag and drop the icon. Then I'm going to attach a new script. As you can see here, you can see the template that it has been saved, because in the other video we tested beta 17, I have selected the object empty, and now we still have that decision. So I will just quickly create this script, and in the function ready. Other thing I don't like about Godot, I thought they were going to change this, is that when you have an empty function, if you are trying out things and you don't want errors to be shown up, you have to use the keyword pass. And now, as you can see, the error has gone away. But for example, in C#, I think that if you have nothing inside a function, nothing will happen. I mean, if you have nothing inside a function in C#, you're able to run the game normally. But of course, when calling this function, nothing will happen. But here in Godot, you can't play, because you must put here the keyword pass or any instruction to the game. When I used to use Godot, it was very annoying, because maybe I was creating 2 or 3 functions at a time, or I wanted to just remember a name of a function or something, and if I wanted to execute the game without putting anything inside, I couldn't, so I must put the keyword pass, or I could also comment the code with the hashtag, and that should be all. But well, inside this ready function, another thing, I think you can just leave this and you shouldn't receive an error, or yes, you are still receiving an error. Okay, now I thought that if you didn't leave an indentation here, Godot wouldn't detect it as an error, but it seems that it does. So I will again change my modulate to color.red in capital letters. I don't know you, but I don't like writing in capital letters, and I don't understand why you can't write it in lowercase. You can, so you must put it in capitals. And well, now I will just press play. I will select the current and I will click save, and we can see here that the game is working. I'm receiving here a lot of warnings and some errors, but well, I believe they are going to fix all these things, because this error on port remote debugging unavailable, this error is showing like in a lot of versions of the web editor, and they haven't solved it, or maybe we have to set something in the project settings, I don't know. But if I have an empty project with just a script, and this script isn't long, as you can see, it's just 2 lines of code, any options, any warnings should be showed. But well, I'm very happy that Godot has finally released the release candidate. It's funny to say release the release candidate, but well, I am always making videos about the new versions of Godot, about the new betas, now about the new release candidate. So if you want to always stay tuned about what Godot does, what Godot releases, you should consider subscribing to the channel. Leave me in the comments if you want your opinion about Godot 4 release candidate 1. Personally, I think that it won't be better than Unity. Of course, if a game engine is better than other, it's very up to what the person thinks. And I think a fair comparison would be the final stable version of Godot versus the latest version of Unity, and there we could make a whole comparison. But until now, it's not a fair comparison, because Godot is still in beta. Well, it's in the release candidate, but it's not the stable version. So this is all for today's video. I hope it was very useful. If so, please consider subscribing, and also if you like, please like the video as well. See you on the next one, and bye bye.